So, as promised, let's talk about a bit more in detail who and what is the Temporis International Awards. This, as I said, 9th edition. Very briefly, that's me, by the way. 13 years ago, I launched a magazine. That was the starting point for this interesting journey. In the meantime, that magazine is a good brand, is well recognized in the watch industry, but that's not relevant. More relevant is that 10 years ago, I take this leap of faith to launch a completely new international competition for watches. And that's really, really important because it was back then was not so easy and was not so simple, but thanks to several several Swiss executives from the watch industry, I was encouraged to do that, and I'm so happy we did it. With this occasion, we launched also the Temporis Awards Gala. During these galas, we not only give the prizes to the winners, but also we launched the Temporis Hall of Fame, which is another important achievement of us. By the way, it's still today the only one great, unique gallery in the whole world dedicated to master watchmakers, to inventors, and to designers in the watchmaking. It's, as I said, a kind of Oscar. By the way, that was one of the editions from the past. You can see people you probably know. You see here next to me Romain Gauthier, for instance, or Laurent Ferrier. During the presentation, there are some other pictures, and I'm sure, or Jan Limansky, people you can easily spot it because they are celebrities in our industry. The gala became a very, very much eagerly awaited event outside Switzerland because it was always genuine, was always authentic. We always fought to the consumer because we believe strongly that the consumer is the origin, or must be the origin of our event, of our awards. If we don't think about consumer, why we are talking about, why we are here? So we believe that there is, as always, there is somewhere there eager to buy a watch. And we always said that the watch industry and the watch as a product is the wildest product in terms of pricing we have in the planet. If you look to a normal watch, absolutely original, it's from 20, 30, I don't know, 50 Swiss francs to millions. If you look to any kind of other product on the planet, there is nothing like that. Cars? Not. TV screens? Not. Whatever you talk, it's impossible. Which means that a watch can belong to anyone on the planet. There is no problem of pricing or no problem of I don't have the money or I don't know. No, everybody can afford, which is great. And another thing we always promoted to our awards is that in the watch world, watches are not biting one each other, which means the same person can wear today a Swatch, for instance, and the next day a Patek Philippe. Actually, I know people doing this. And there is no shame on that. This is absolutely unique. Because in the car industry, for instance, if you run a Dacia, you cannot run a Mercedes. You are not allowed. Of course, not allowed. You will be stupid. It's either Mercedes or BMW or Audi or whatever, Rolls-Royce or a Dacia or a Skoda or, you know. This is a little bit different words. Anyway, coming back, today we have a prestigious jury, which is 22 international people. We have this year also 13 categories, which I will explain a little bit because here is the key. I said that these categories are about unique. It's about an approach from the contemporary perspective. We always thought that some people in the watch industry are living in the past. We believe that it's good to believe in the future. And we are living in a very modern world. Nowadays, this is ruling our lives, we like it or not. So if this is true, should we give up of this? No. The answer of us is no. So because of that, we embrace the diversity of the watch industry. For instance, we are the only ones having a category for quartz watches. I have to say that during the 10 years, I met people who came into the jury and said, Dan, don't be offended, I will not vote for the category of quartz. And I said, why? Because to me, quartz is not relevant. I said, yeah, maybe so, but by coincidence, for Patek Philippe is relevant quartz, for Cartier is relevant the quartz, for Van Cleef is relevant the quartz. So I'm not talking only about normal small brands, quartz, and by the way, talking about the business, it's probably in terms of units, more than 90% of the whole production of watches all around the world. So it's a sizable one. Anyway, from the beginning, we thought that is great. Then we also pioneered ideas like everyday watch. Because in the modern life, you start in the morning and you go back home in the night, and during the day, you have so many things to do. A modern living being today on the planet is doing so many things. So how you can spot that watch, which is your watch, is representing you, your personality, to be good for all the day long. That's an interesting, how I can say, mission for the watchmakers. But we are very happy to say there are so many doing this. That's the reason to have this category of both men and ladies. Then we have another category. Obviously, traveling is important for vacation. No, not to say that obviously it's not exactly the same watch. You will have it in vacation, exactly the one you are wearing every day, which is normal. Again, we are modern people. Then we pioneered a category which initially, that was the nickname, it was called, which is the, how I can, no, let's talk about the actual name is best value for complication watch. That is 100% Temporis International Awards. Nobody did before and nobody after, because we pioneered many, many years ago. The idea of this award is just to see how much money you have to pay for a real, valuable, authentic complication. Because if I take the tourbillon, you easily see that there are companies like Tag Heuer giving you a tourbillon, a real one. I'm very precise on that, a real one, a genuine, authentic, for 15, it was the beginning, now it's 20,000 Swiss francs, and then you can go up to hundreds and millions of Swiss francs. Also a tourbillon. Also, the concept is the same, although there are more and more complicated kind of tourbillons. So we explore this new field because the consumer want to understand what is the best value for the complication I want to buy. So it's worth or not. That's very challenging. And be aware, I'm talking about real watches. I'm not talking about fake. I'm not talking about gray market. No, I'm talking about real watches, real watchmakers from Switzerland and as this competition, a few countries around. Then we have obviously the best complication watch. It's about the most complicated watches. We have this Maverick watch. That was very interesting because, that initially was called Bad Boy Watch. To be honest, it is the idea with one of dear members of the Hall of Fame, Matthias Butet, who told me, Dan, you know, there are so many new independent watchmakers coming with so many crazy ideas. However, how crazy they are, how creative they are, both are valid, which means that is a really haute horlogerie in a completely new interpretation. Imagine now today it's more obvious, but 10 years ago when we started, it was not so obvious. I'm happy that we've been right. I'm happy that in the meantime, the independent watchmakers' voice is huge, is important. They are having a lot of cooperations. Most of them are members of our Hall of Fame. That's the reason, and we baptized the best Maverick watch because we like the word Maverick. Then we've been, again, the very first in the world to discuss about connected watches. Initially was the word was smartwatch. Then we changed for connected because it's much more appropriate. I am personally one of the very first journalists in the world who was wearing a real smartwatch back then. By the way, do you know which one was the very first smartwatch many years ago? I imagine not, because nobody is remembering. It was a Sony. Imagine Sony was the first company putting on sale, selling a watch related obviously in connection with a Sony mobile. Nowadays Sony doesn't exist anymore, or it's very small. Exists, but it's quite a small player. And I remember in Baselworld, it was many years ago, when I discussed with many top executives, big names, including Jean-Claude, my dear friend Jean-Claude Biver. Everybody was skeptic about this. Anyway, now we can see there is a real phenomenon. We from the beginning said this, and I'm quick in explaining that we are consistent in this competition to our credo, which means we accept as watches, connected watches, able to compete only the watches coming from watchmakers, watchmaking companies. So all the technology giants are excluded, because obviously there is no way to compete with Apple. And to have an Apple Watch winning every year makes no sense. I mean, that's not for us. We are taking care about watches and the real watch industry. So because of that, this category is always related to the watch industry. Although it's a big watch company or a small watch company or a startup company, as you will see. By the way, talking about the startup watches, startup companies in the watch industry, we introduced this year this category, which is new. But in our case, we are extremely careful in our selection. The jury was instructed to select very carefully, in the sense of we check that startup company is real, if they have a manufacturer, if they have a real sales operation, if they have a après-vente, if they have a service, if they have something related to the real life of a company in connection with the consumer. Because obviously I can do myself, invent everything, and I can claim everything. But if in front of me there is not a market, there are no clients, and if there are two clients, both of them are unhappy. It happened, by the way, in the past of the watchmaking, that big names came, big noise, winning awards, and in 2 years they've been bankrupt. By the way, in our case, you have to be alive as a company minimum 3 years. So it's also a part of our concept. Therefore, this year you will see very interesting proposals coming from the jury. We also introduced this year it was long-term planned best sustainable watch. It's about watches sustainable in every respect. I am personally a big fan of solar watches. Nowadays there are so many, like myself, which is great, because in this respect, the watch industry is the most advanced industry in the world in using efficiently the light of the sun. Generally speaking, the light, but the sun is the best source of light, obviously. And I give you this figure. With the technologies of today, in about 16, 17, 18 minutes, depends on the brand, depends on the technology inside of the watch, you can ensure the energy for the watch for the next 6 months. This is not achieved, not even in the car industry, which is much bigger, with a lot of money investing in this. They are far behind the watch industry. And as a big fan of my industry, I can only be happy that we are living this time when you have this kind of technologies new, and definitely the solar watches are representing the future. Imagine it's like a perpetuum mobile. You put it on your wrist and then it doesn't matter. You do whatever you want because it will always run. But it's also about sustainable watches. It's about how sustainable is the process, how sustainable are the materials, the things used inside, and so on and so forth. And obviously, as I said, we have this watch of the year, and I'm quick to say we have the jury watch of the year because it's important to give the jury this chance. I want to say these are other pictures. Again, you can see different people. By the way, you can see, for instance, in the upper picture, you have, for instance, Anthony De Haas of Lange & Söhne. You have Felix Baumgartner and Martin Frey from Maverick. Anyway, there are many people who, during the years, been on stage of Temporis. Important is that key dates is that, I mean, the key datas, the date is October 13, 2022. Jury 22 international awards, 22 international jury members. I will come back. And obviously the guests, you can imagine, we are looking for important people from our world and also lucky winners of the lottery of the voting process. These are the jury members. As you can see, there are many personalities. Obviously, Philippe Dufour, but Romain Gauthier, I was talking about him, Stefano Macaluso, Manuel Emsch, Kari Voutilainen, obviously Patrick Hoffman, René Beyer, Anish Bhatt, and Nicolas Ross, Omar Chaoui. And there you see many countries and many watch media people from different countries. You see a lot of passionate. By the way, Anish is one of the most famous, if not the most famous blogger in the watch universe. We have people passionate about watches. Anyway, I'm happy that we put together a list of personalities of the watch media, watch industry, watch collectors, aficionados from 3 continents, Europe, South America, and Asia. And I can tell you, next year this process will continue. Obviously, now about the voting process, I promised that's the key difference between us and any other competition. We pioneered 10 years ago this formula. It was practically the idea to combine the specialists, how they can spot the best watches every year. And after they vote, we come with 6 finalists for each category. And then the public, it's coming and voting the winners. So we believe, and it was proven in all these years, that that's the best of both worlds. On one side, you have the specialists to vote these 6 finalists, which means you have a pretty good guarantee that is the best selection. And you have the chance to ask the people, which cannot fail because they are not going wild to vote. They have 6 finalists to vote. The process, we try to make it as simple as possible. So you go on the site from wherever you navigate, you land on the temporis.watch, which is the official site of the competition. Start voting. You go to the first category. You have to select your preference out of 6. You see the watches, obviously. Then you put 1, you go farther. You put 2, you cannot go farther. You put nothing, you cannot go farther. So it's very simple. You don't have to allocate points. You don't have to make a ranking. So it's easy because in the modern life, we believe people are very busy. No matter how passionate they are about something, there is a limit, which is the time. By the way, that's our business, time. So because we fully understand that, we just ask humbly the permission to the passionate people all around the world to, to give us 1 minute or 2 minutes. So then you go to these categories, you have to register name because you are in a lottery with small details, and that's it. So with this being said, combining these two, we are strongly believe, and as I said, it was proven, that is the best solution, is the best way of having winners, and is the most accurate, closer to the democracy universe we are living in, which is not perfect, obviously, but that's the best way. There is no other way. If we leave only the public to vote, then it's a problem because it's a wild vote, you never know. If you leave only the specialists, okay, it's great, but again, could come a lot of criticism. I guess also in our formula can be criticism, but anyway, we believe it's the best. And as I said, in 10 years was proven to be the best, and it's highly respected by the watch industry. It's obviously very transparent because it's nothing to hide here, as long as, and it's good because it's a kind of real independent approach. By the end of the day, we are giving a lot of opportunities to so many, by the way, there are 72 plus another 6 for the last category, so 72 could be 72 maisons, which is a lot. By the way, this year was only 49, I will come back on that. But anyway, it's a lot. So we give a lot of opportunities. Nobody can be unhappy if the public vote is not indicating its watch, a company, as the winner. That's the public. It's just a competition. It's like, you cannot be always the world champion. You can be or not. Anyway, everything is obviously integrated online. And now a few words about the Hall of Fame. You have here the whole list. As I said, there are so many dear friends and so many brilliant watchmakers, master watchmakers, obviously inventors, designers, people who all of them are accepted to be inducted in this. And for the record, we do not accept people who are not coming in person. So if they are not coming in person, they are not inducted. So they are invited next year. So if they don't come at all, they are not. That's the reason that you might imagine if someone is not coming, is not going to be a member. And also we are not inducting dead personalities. Because otherwise, Breguet, okay, Breguet, no, it's not us. That's not minimize at all the merits of Breguet, to be very clear. But that's something living. That's true also that in the meantime, we have already one dear member, Roger Dubuis, who was in Temporis, who was inducted. He was big fan of Temporis Hall of Fame, and who died after that. That's life. But and we will continue. The news is that this year in the Zurich Gala, we will continue. We will have 1, 2, we will see, new members of the Temporis Hall of Fame to be inducted here in Borolac, in Petit Palais on stage, which is, I would say, a great moment. When I invented this Hall of Fame together with my friends from the jury, we imagined that something is missing. And before this Hall of Fame, all the watchmakers behind many brands was always hidden. That was the mentality there. Now it's, thank God, as I said, it's completely different. But we opened that, and I was asking different personalities of the watch industry how they see, and most of them told me, Dan, you know what, do it, because it makes sense. They deserve to have their own forum to be recognized. As I said, today things are different, and I'm happy that there is a big progress on that. It's a red carpet event. I think I will stop I will stop here and I will give you now the figures of this year edition, which are really, we believe it's tremendously important, and we are so happy to be in Zurich for the first time. Because of the pandemic, we postponed for 2 years this competition. We thought that it's much better to do it in live, not online. So today I'm able to say that out of the 72 finalists for the first 12 categories, not less than 49 watch brands got nominations. And of this, 13 have 2 or more nominations in different categories. And the most nominations are coming from Omega, Seiko, yes, Seiko, and Bulgari, one in cooperation with Max Büsser and friends. And they are leading the crowd with 4 nominations in 4 categories. Then with 3 nominations in 3 categories, we have A. Lange & Söhne, Cartier, Chopard, and TAG Heuer. And we have no less than 6 watch brands which has 2 nominations, Frédéric Constant, Hermès, Rolex, Montblanc, Ulysse Nardin, and Piaget, which made me happy because this is showing that the jury members are not afraid. I imagine anyone here can ask me, why you nominate, I don't know, 1 brand 4 times instead of nominating 4 brands? It would be more democratic. And I will disagree on that. First of all, the vote of the jury is totally independent and totally respected. And secondly, you know, some brands are doing better than other brands. It's a competition who is doing better. So the jury is simply recognizing the value of many brilliant watches. So that's it. That's the way it is. But I will tell you even more. Another big surprise, which was also for me personally a big surprise, is that no less than 4 watch models been nominated more than once. So Cartier Tank was nominated 2 times. A. Lange & Söhne Richard Lange Minute Repeater was nominated twice. Grand Seiko Kodo Constant Force Tourbillon twice in different categories, and even Ulysse Nardin Blast Moonstruck was also nominated in 2 categories. That's another bold collective decision of the jury. To have the guts as a jury to say, this watch is so good, it's so great that it deserves to nominate it in 2 categories, the same watch. That's something impressive. I can only respect the vote of the jury, but okay, again, anybody can say whatever. It's the way it is. I have to say also a good news, because we are here in Zurich in Switzerland. 88% of all nominations are coming from the Swiss watch industry, which is tremendous. But that's the reality. As I said, even the Quartz are coming from Switzerland. Connected are coming from Switzerland. So there is no category where the Swiss watch industry to not be represented. And again, this is the reality, and we respect that. As you can see, the jury just validated this, and I give you the figures. Also, there are only 6 non-Swiss nations who managed to have a watch in this list of finalists. One is obviously A. Lange & Söhne from Germany. Then we have Seiko from Japan. Resence, I'm happy to say about Resence. Benoit, hello. Could give you this information. It's from Belgium. Bugatti Austria. Awake from France. That's another interesting story, this Awake brand. And of course, Jayer from Netherlands of Bernard, which is another good friend who managed to do like awake, a solar watch, which is really very impressive. I will say that this year we are very much looking forward to come back in Zurich on October 13 to have this gala here, as I said, in Borolac, with happy winners after we will have the vote of the public. Many of the jury members will join me because that's the way it should be. I hope also different personalities from Zurich will join just to enjoy this. Actually is a premiere for Zurich to have a gala for the watch industry. And we are at Temporis International Awards. We are very proud and very happy to be here. Thank you. Now, if you have questions, I will be happy to answer.